Well, we have been talking about dress codes all morning. We've been asking you your opinions about it. Can they be helpful or deeply confusing? From black tie and cocktail to the dreaded smart casual. What does that even mean? We've been hearing from so many of you about it this morning, about things you like and you don't like.
So let's dive straight in with one of our favourites on News Breakfast, fashion stylist Sally McKinnon. Sally, always learn something.
Good morning, great to be back.
Dress codes.
Yeah.
A hindrance? Are they a good thing? Do you have a strong view? See, I love a clear dress code.
Yeah.
That's great. Black tie, I know what that is.
Yeah.
I can do that. When there's some sort of obscure reference in there, like that, just muddles it up.
Like it might have a dress code and then a theme, for example,
Yes.
like a colour or some kind of weird...
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it depends on your personality, James. It doesn't surprise me that you like a clear-cut,
I like the little slam, little drive-by.
defined dress code. I think that's that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. But I do think they are a good thing because I think for a lot of people it is very overwhelming and confusing what to wear. So I think what a dress code gives us is some direction and almost like a template to say, OK, this is how whoever has invited you to the event, this is how they want you to dress. So I do think they are a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the worst thing is if you rock up to something realising everyone's dressed up and you're not, or vice versa, if there's a big difference.
I would always suggest to be the most overdressed person in the room than the underdressed.
And things are becoming a bit more relaxed, though,
Yeah,
don't you think? When in terms of dress,
yeah.
Perhaps when it comes to dress codes, if you said to someone, "Here's black tie," black tie is not what it was. I don't think.
I think again, it really depends on the type of function that you're going to, and that's where I would always consider the venue. So often the venue, if it's somewhere like a big, very traditional function centre, maybe depending on what the event is for, if it's maybe a charity gala like I attended last year, I think that is a good... it's a good way to inform you of how formal you should be.
Yeah.
So I would argue that if it's black tie, whoever has invited you, whether it's an organisation or a wedding, that's really how they want you to dress.
Yeah.
So I think black tie obviously here is the most formal of the dress codes, and essentially what that does mean for men, it's a black tuxedo suit, a black tie, bow tie, generally, white shirt, black shoes. So that's fairly straightforward. So for most men, that is just like, right, easy, tick, tick.
You can
and if you don't have one, you can hire one.
You can go midnight blue maybe if you really want to jazz it up. But
no,
so you don't like that?
Not for black tie. Not generally for black tie. For formal, absolutely, you can go with your darker suits, maybe a charcoal, maybe a navy. But for black tie, I would probably suggest to stick with black for the men.
All right, what about for the women though?
So if it's black tie, it really does indicate that for women, floor-length dresses. But that's probably where things have become a little bit more relaxed.
Yes.
I think if you're, I mean, we're seeing some beautiful imagery of all sorts of age groups going to all sorts of events. Black tie. I mean, look at this. That's a great example.
Classic.
That would probably be officially white tie. There is a white tie dress code as well. I don't think it's as popular here in Australia. I think it's a very American and British thing. But you know, that's a great example of a black tie outfit. The man in a traditional tux, and obviously you can see he's got a nice pocket square in his pocket, and she's got a beautiful full-length, floor-length gown. But I agree. I think you can be a bit more flexible in terms of the length of the dress for black tie. You know, maybe something around mid-length, kind of calf length is, I think, more than appropriate these days.
Well, also things can be expensive, right?
Yeah.
To buy a full-length
Absolutely,
gown as
yes.
such.
Which is why it's so great for us, probably in the last 10 years, I would say. You know, men have always been able to hire suits. I mean, ever since I can remember. You know, I did my Year 12 Deb. Year 11 Deb, you know, my partner at the time would have hired his suit and I had to get a dress made, as did all the other debutantes. But thankfully now we can also hire. So that's a really great tip that I give people, is that you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money, particularly when it's something that you're only going to wear once. So check out all the hire places that are around.
There are a lot these days.
You know, think about friends that you might have. Maybe you can borrow a great frock from a girlfriend, and it's also okay to wear something that you've worn before.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Can we get into the confusing areas? Let's start like cocktail.
Yeah.
Smart casual. I think you've got some examples for us, but this is where I think clarity starts to go out the window.
Yeah, so cocktail is then kind of the step down from formal. And I've actually got some really interesting information about where cocktail originated. So it was popularised in the 1940s as a dress code specifically dedicated to events in the home between 6 and 8 p.m. So kind of just before dinner. But it was actually Christian Dior, would you believe, was the first to name the early evening frock a cocktail dress in the 1940s, and hence it continues to be the cocktail dress. So as you can see from these pictures that I've grabbed today, you know, a little bit more informal. Men don't necessarily have to wear a tie, but it still would insist that you would wear a nice suit.
Dressy.
But it doesn't have to be black and can be a little bit lighter. It could be an open collar, and then for women it can be a slightly shorter dress, perhaps a strappier dress, a little bit more skin on show. But the interpretations, as we've already discussed, are very broad with all sorts of dress codes.
So we've been asking our viewers.
You have.
One, I need to put this one to you. Sharon says she was invited to a wedding 10 months ago. 2 weeks out, they've now colour-themed the event.
Oh.
Fuchsia, purple or navy blue cocktail dress code. Now, Sharon says this is not what she bought, so what does she do? Does she have to go buy something else, or can she just ignore it? I said ignore it because I think it's rude.
I think that's 2 weeks out. That's a bit of a shock to the system, and you have to kind of ask yourself. I mean, I think at the end of the day, particularly when it's something like a wedding, you know, the couple will normally set a dress code because that's how they want people to turn up to their wedding, and I think it's important to respect that.
Yes.
But I think 2 weeks out, I'm with you, Emma. I think Sharon just needs to, if she's gone to the effort to buy a beautiful outfit that fitted with the old dress code, I think it's like too late.
Sharon, go to your nearest pharmacy, buy a rat test, take it out, draw a little red line on the thing, take a photo, you're done.
James.
No, I don't know. No, I've never done that. Sally, just very, very briefly, smart casual.
Yeah.
What is it?
So if you think of smart and casual together, it's actually really self-explanatory. So I was just chatting with Nate. I think Nate's a great example of smart casual. So his outfit today had a beautiful polo shirt on, but it's with a tailored chino. So really just break down the smart casual and have something of that's smart within the outfit. So for example, I always use the example for men particularly, it's not your t-shirt, shorts and sneakers. It might be a pair of shorts with a pair of loafers and a nice collared short sleeve shirt. So smart casual, something smart with something casual. So it could be a great suit, like we've talked about before, with a pair of sneakers, for example. So just making sure it's a nice blend of the two.
Combo.
Yeah, so not too casual. And I think a lot of workplaces have definitely shifted to that smart business casual, dress for your day. Maybe that's another topic, dress for your day. That's very open-ended.
We need to get you back to talk about work attire. That has, gosh, that has changed.
It has changed.
Sally, we love your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.